Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Or good evening, depending on where you are. My name's Carneros, and I'm here with the Playable Worlds team to interview Johnny Au, our principal VFX artist. Very happy to have you on the stream today, Johnny. How you doing? How's your morning
Uh,
going?
Morning. Well, it's actually already noon here, so it's
Oh,
lunchtime, but
okay.
we'll survive somehow.
Okay. Okay. Tell us about yourself. What's your role at Playable Worlds? You might have to explain what a principal VFX artist is.
It's a mouthful. So let's just forget the principal part because I'm the only VFX artist. So really, I can take any title I want, right? Um, but my job as a VFX artist is to basically do all the I think they're the fun bits in the art production pipeline, all the explodey bits, all the little sparkly bits. Sometimes we have to do all the bloody bits. Yeah, so anytime you do something in the game, let's say your character is punches a deer because you're that type of person. Um, well, maybe when you're throwing that punch, you might want to see a little effect around your fist to show the force of that punch. So I'll do that little effect. And
Like
if you
Marvel's
manage to
Iron
hit the
Fist.
deer,
Do you remember
yeah,
Marvel Iron Fist?
exactly.
Yeah, loved him growing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was more of an Iron Man guy, but um,
He
so
had
so
visual effects
basically,
too.
yes, a lot. Yeah. So I basically, for the most part, I add small graphical enhancements to different parts of the game to accentuate the action, to accentuate the environment, or just different aspects of the gameplay, or even non-gameplay. If you're sitting down and just sit emote, just chill out. Um, you might want to see something happening in the environment. So maybe the little glow bugs fly by. That's something I would work on. Maybe
I
leaves
love those.
blow in the wind. So, just things like that.
Nice, nice.
Um, yeah.
Um, just want to check one. Okay, good. My stream had stopped on my other computer, and I wanted to make sure it was still going. Okay, good. Looks good. Thank you. Thank you behind the scenes, by the way, to Thomas, who is our engineer today and keeping everything running, and who made the new music for the intro. Thank you, Thomas. And thank you also to Lyric Dax, who is playing Stars Reach in the background for us. I appreciate that, Lyric. And there's a nifty transition. Lyric's running around in the middle of nowhere. Typical. Just kidding. And yeah, we can see a little bit of VFX happening from his feet as he runs, little dust clouds. Is that yours, Johnny?
Oh, yes. That's uh I'm unhappy with the dust clouds. So when you mention dust clouds, yes, that's me, but I'm unhappy with them.
Okay,
Um,
we won't bring them up
uh,
then. Sorry.
well, it's something that I need to address at some point. But yeah, I mean, and anytime your character is doing something, it has an impact on the environment. Dust,
Yeah.
footprints, which I would love to do at some point. Or if you're splashing through the water, where the water splashes. You know, we don't have that yet. Um, yeah, dust clouds, in general need a lot of work, and we'll get there one day, hopefully. I don't
Yeah.
have the stream up because I'm afraid of completely screwing up my setup right now, so I have no
Yeah.
idea what's going on.
Okay. Good. Don't worry about it. Thank you. We'd rather have your bandwidth for video and audio right now than that. So thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get started in this crazy industry in the first place? Was it your intention? Did you
Oh,
do this
heck
on
no.
purpose?
No. Um, uh-uh. No, I don't know how I got into this industry. I've always liked computers, noodling around with computers. So I was noodling around with computers at recess instead of playing on the swings. Um, Went to school to do computer science, ended up doing computer graphics instead. And somehow I wasn't, so I ended up working in like film and TV for a while. And it came to a point where I wasn't happy at the place I was anymore. I was feeling burnt out. And then just started expanding my horizons and, hey, video games. I play video games all the time. Maybe I can do that. Um, so I applied somewhere, got a job there, and started working in video games. You can say hi.
Aw, hello, hello.
Yep.
What was your first game company?
Okay, you're
What
gonna
would you
have to
say?
wait.
Oh, okay.
We're tired of playing Katamari and we want to play Minecraft, but that's gonna
Oh,
have to wait.
I hear you. I hear you. They need to come
Sure.
out with a new Katamari too. Although I heard one's coming.
Yeah,
This,
hopefully it's a really cool classic. So the first computer game company I worked for was Neversoft.
nice.
And they were working on Apocalypse at the time, at the tail end of Apocalypse. But I started there when Bruce Willis was on a skateboard, and they were prototyping Tony Hawk. So I was there for 16 years. So I worked on basically all the Tony Hawks, few Guitar Heroes, and a few Call of Duties, and then I got burnt out there. So I took a break, and this Playable Worlds is my first real game job since then,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's been fun.
How long have you been with us now?
2.5 years, and that
Wow.
went pretty quick. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I started. I think when the company was kind of more of in the R&D and prototyping phase for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
started around when the other departments started beefing up, um, and it's been a journey. If we look at some of the stuff that we were doing 2.5 years ago, from the art side, they were very, 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 very rough. Embarrassingly so.
Yeah.
But we're getting there.
We're getting there. I was
Yep.
just I was just saying this morning that the game's looking better and better. I appreciate all the progress.
Yeah, me too. It's like we've made a lot of progress, especially you can do anything you want right now. That's how we parent. Um, you tell kids, I'm busy for an hour. Okay. Um, yeah, it's especially over the last 6 months, I think we've made a lot of progress in all aspects of the game and the art side, which I'm more interested in. But there's still so much more to do. Uh, and that's exciting. Because there's
Yeah.
yeah. Like for over a year now, I've wanted to be able to do um blowing dust in the world when it's parched, and I haven't
Yeah.
had the chance. And we're almost there. Still waiting for like one system to get more developed.
What's the
So
most recent visual effect you put into the game?
that's out in the public release.
No,
The
no. Give me one
skies.
that's not
Oh,
out yet.
um, well, this morning, wow. Yeah, it's like, what did I just work on yesterday? I don't remember. No, we got some versions of we've updated the portals a little bit so that
Okay.
they're easier they're easier navigate. This is a microphone.
Do it.
You are singing into it. Okay,
Okay.
I need you to go.
Sing microphones.
Yep. Here. Um we're gonna get a lot of that, by the way, because there's one more child who hasn't peeped the voice yet, but the time will come.
Jeez. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did variations on the portal, and we're labeling the portals, so it's just easier to tell what portal takes you where, because goodness,
Nice. Nice.
that's been tricky. Gaiamar,
That's a
is that the
struggle
green
for
one?
me. Yeah.
Yes. um we also fixed some graphical issues, like right now, if you do your FOV more than 60, then you get that little tiny box in the middle. So we just fixed that. Uh, those are the last two things I worked on.
I
Yeah.
do appreciate the work on which portal is which because I'm uh I've got big beautiful monitors, so I tend to have a big scene up, so it tend to be slightly farther back from the action, so everything's a little bit smaller. But I'm getting older and my eyes aren't that good anymore, so I can't pick out which ones are a different color very well when they're that
Yep.
small. So anything you do is appreciated. Thank you.
Well, plus the colors on the portals are tiny. So when you're far away
Yeah,
in space, like, I don't
yeah.
know what color that is. I always see is yellow. Um, but yeah, that I think that will help a
And
lot.
it's not
And
easy
really,
to zoom in your view on something in the distance without moving the position of your character, which you might not want to do due to the dangers nearby. Yeah.
yep. Really, the impetus for me updating the portals is because Rod, in his infinite wisdom of being a producer and making the game run on time and making it easier for people,
He
shoved
does.
that shoved that beacon in the middle of my beautiful portal VFX, and it was causing artifacts. And I was not happy with that. That blue shaft going through the yellow portal.
Yeah.
No.
No.
So so I
Okay.
had to fix it, and while I was fixing that, I just, did the other stuff. Quality of life improvements. Any chance I get to, you start out with a task, but any chance you get to expand on the task, scope creep a little bit just to make a game a little bit better and not blow your deadlines, I'll take that.
What's the next new visual effect you're going to work on? The next new project.
Um, well, this is the Trailblazer. It has to do with the Trailblazer and the spawner. I don't know, like, because we're
You have
doing
to
the
read the
spawner
details.
combat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we're redoing the spawner combat, so I'm doing something related to that. And I don't have a firm grasp of exactly what it'll be,
Okay.
because especially um, at this stage of development, I get a vague request of, like, we need, and this is a giveaway, a ping.
Yeah, yeah. Wait. Don't say it. Don't say it. Because we don't want to give away too many mechanics of behind the scenes. Okay.
I told you, right? The other one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go ask Oscar to help you. Okay. Monkey Ball. If you guys have ever played that game, it's the remake, so it's not. Anyways, keeps them occupied for like 5 minutes.
I love that you're raising a new generation of gamers, though. We need those.
Um, yeah, we do, right? Especially with the industry tanking. Um, so hopefully they'll get a job and pay for their own games one of these days.
Yeah.
But
And then
yeah,
take care of us in
so
our old age. Yes, I like it.
that's the hope.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have a vague notion of like I have a concrete task as to what this next effect is supposed to do, but the
Yeah.
actual
Okay.
implementation, what it looks like, I'm still kind of sorting that out.
All right.
And it's not like this all the time. Sometimes you have more concrete direction, other times you don't. And that's one of the perks of the job. Um, is you do get a lot of
Yeah.
room to interpret. Because especially with VFX, let's say you're a character artist. Someone tells you to make a organ, not that it's in the game. Um, someone is probably going to concept it out and tell you what the proportions are and so on. Um, and within that framework, you have to create a character that looks more or less like that. With VFX, they oftentimes aren't that specific. Make something explode, make it cool, crank it up, more cool. Okay, what's more cool? I don't know. So, there's a lot of interpretation and freedom to kind of do things how you want. Um, so that's always fun. Sometimes it's a little hard because you it might be a little bit too open to interpretation,
Oh,
but
I
you
thought you were
know,
gonna say because
um,
Rod is a whip cracker and makes you
no,
do more versions. No.
Rod's a honey. I just don't like it when he mixes my VFX in ways that I don't anticipate. But he makes the game
Okay.
work. So
Yeah.
I appreciate what he
Yeah.
does.
We shouldn't pick on Rod right now because he's running the test at the moment, I think. So he can't,
I know, which means he's
he's
not
not here to
listening.
defend himself. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a small team and we all know each other and can tease each other a
We
bit.
are. It's actually amazing just how much we do get done with a team this small. I haven't been on a team this
Yeah.
small since ages. But
Yeah.
we're getting it done. Some things take a
Yeah.
little longer, but you know, that's how it
And
goes.
and a few things take a lot less time too. When you need to get an
Yes.
approval on something, sometimes it's just a quick conversation and yes, go for it. And that's it.
Yep.
No paperwork, yeah, I like it. I do
Yeah.
like that.
It's a double-edged sword, but with the team we've got, we've been really good with that power and responsibility
Yeah.
trope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. What kind of games do you like to play in your fun time, Johnny?
In my fun times, wow. In my fun times, I can tell you I'm playing Triangle Strategy right now, on my MetaQuest. Although my gosh, the stories are endless. Like, just get me to the gameplay, please. I'm also playing Alan Wake 2, but it's a horror
Oh,
story, and the save points are really far and in between. So I always have to think like, do I have enough time to play to get to the next save point. And plus, it's a horror story, and I don't do well with horror. So, adventure
and
games,
you can't play that in front of the kids, can you?
nope. so,
I was thinking,
so,
yeah.
I'm making very slow progress. Um, but yeah, so adventure games, RPGs, uh, grand strategies, first-person shooters. Although I've been playing those less just because I've I have to be very choosy about what games I play these days because like it'll take me a year to play through Alan Wake, I'm sure. Um, so like anyone else, I've got a Steam backlog like this. My
Yeah.
my webcam isn't big enough, and neither are my arms. But one day, when I'm a ripe old age, I can go back and play all the games I thought I wanted to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's a contrast with me. I mostly just play Eve Online when I'm not working. So yeah,
Yeah, I played EVE Online ages ago when it first came out, but
yeah.
I'm antisocial in MMOs, so I just be out there in the asteroids just mining and mining and mining. But that was fun. That's a awesome game. It's the kind of game I wish I had more time to be involved in, but I don't, because if I play Eve, I'd be like you. I wouldn't be playing any other games, and I always feel bad if I'm not playing other games.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if, you're inspired to see other games' visual effects and get ideas from that and stuff like that. Yeah, that's, you need a little more variety than just one game for that
Yeah.
effect to happen.
half of
Yeah.
half of my Steam catalog is just games I want to look at because
Yeah.
they're so pretty.
Yeah.
But but these days I think I probably end up watching people stream games more than playing games like everyone else.
In case there are people in the chat who aspire to being an artist on a game someday, tell them a little bit about what tools you use in your daily work life, just in case.
Just in case. Well, it's going to be pretty specific. Well, okay. Um, you need some kind of 3D software, right? So lately I've been using Blender because it's free. I can use that at home, I can use it at work, and I don't have to worry about like remembering two sets of hotkeys.
Yeah.
So yeah, Blender for 3D stuff, and then of course your Photoshop or something equivalent. For my line of work, you need to know some coding and some shader stuff. So right now, uh, C sharp a lot.
What about
Because
Rust?
Unity. No, for because most of the stuff I do is client side in Unity, so a lot of it's C sharp. If we go
Mhm.
over to server side, which I sometimes have to deal with, then it's TypeScript, and I fuddle my way through it. Um, and then shader stuff, if you can get around in a graph-based system, that's good because like 95% of my shader work is a graph-based system. It's helpful to know a little bit of the um, the what do you call it, the code behind it, the HOSL or GOSL, but really it's so much faster to use the graph stuff. But you do, still need a basic understanding of what's happening behind the scenes. Um, yeah. So, and then it's nice to be familiar with whatever engine you're using. I've been using Unity for, gosh, like 10 years now. So I'm pretty familiar with it.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
useful. Yeah, that's useful in this particular job. But
Dow is asking us in chat if are you hand coding the shaders then, or are you using other tools too?
mostly, so Unity comes with a node-based shader editor. That's like 95% of any shader work I do. Um, Very seldom would I actually go and hand code it. There's like here and there for like the space sky, the skybox tool that we use don't really support using a custom background, so I had to change that to accommodate what we wanted to do. And there's a few other instances like that. And even if like as a VFX artist, if you can't hand code, that's fine. What you need to be able to do is do the shaders, the graph-based shader stuff, because at the very least, you can prototype it out, get the effect you want, hand it off to a proper graphics programmer and let them deal with the optimization issues. But first and foremost, you need to be able to create the look and the functionality that you want. So do it in Graph Editor. It's so much faster.
Okay. Okay. All right. Dow says thank you. Yeah. All right. We're making progress here. So what's your favorite part of your job? I have a feeling I know what it is, but I want to hear you say it.
Well, I mean, there's two parts to that, right? One is the professional part, and the other is the personal part. The personal part, my favorite part is that my kids can run in here and bother me. That's my favorite part
Oh,
of the personal part of the job. Even if, it's advocating sometimes, but they're kids, so it comes with it.
yeah. That's
Prof-
great.
Professionally, I like being on a small team. I don't do well in a large team because um, it is easy to become just someone outputting stuff, meet
Yeah.
something on a list. So best part of this job right now is the freedom to kind of help fill in the gaps where I see them. So I concentrate on VFX, but like in this particular role at a larger company, I would be spending much more time on in Photoshop or Blender or Houdini or something like that, and less time in the coding and the shading, right? Um, and it's easier because we're a small team to call out things I see that's not related directly to what I'm doing and get
Yeah.
eyeballs on it. So, and really, oh, this is like, maybe this is a really long list, but really my favorite part, well, another favorite part of this job is like I have a boss I can trust. And in this
Oh,
industry or in any other industry, that's really hard to say.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I like my job.
Yeah. Yay. Okay, we have a question from the chat. And that is the fog intended to be as heavy and strong on planets such as Gaiamar and Iskarion? It definitely gives a cool effect, but it can be hard to see through unless this is part of the traversal challenges that's intended. Um,
It is, yeah, it is intended. I think you have to find a clear, like you're always kind of balancing the visuals with the gameplay. So whether it's too foggy right now or not foggy enough, it's my intention to be too foggy. You as a player or Dave as the guy in charge and tell me it's too foggy for gameplay. I hate this. And we'll dial it back. And then we'll probably push it forward a little bit again because graphically I want some variation in the atmosphere. Um, so yeah, it's going to be some push and pull, but you need to remember that anything you see in the game right now visually is up for change, and any time that we have time to make a change, whether it's for hopefully for better or maybe for worse, sometimes we're going to do
right,
it because there's stuff that we're still experimenting with. There's still stuff that we
right.
want to do. So yeah, if you don't get too attached to any aspect of the art that you love or that you hate
Right, right.
until we ship. And then even after we
Yeah.
ship, it's a live service game. We're going to keep evolving it. So, it's always going to be up for change, up for debate. But I do like the foggy atmosphere in Escarion and Diamar right now. If I had my way, I'd make it even more foggy. And there's so one aspect of the fog that I don't like is I don't like the fog immediately around the character.
Interesting, because it reflects the
Okay.
character. Oh,
Dancing.
look.
Yep. Um,
Cute.
well, no. So actually what I want is more control over the density of the fog closer to the character, so that the fog doesn't start so close to the character, so that you can still
Oh,
see, let's say 20 or 30 meters away, and then the fog starts getting thicker. I don't have that control right now. But yeah, I'm going to be asking for that at some point, or
okay.
trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, Gunk has replied to your answer to the fog intentionality question and said, awesome. Can't wait to see what new effects you guys do because the fog does give a great effect. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um,
And Dow's
yeah,
saying, oh, some more wisps of fog. That sounds nice. But I'm
yeah,
visualizing it more um, like they have like creatures or people would have an invisible larger uh second um what do you call it, uh, intersection box around them that stops fog. It doesn't stop anything else but stops fog or rain maybe or something else like that, so that you've got just a little space around you. I don't know, something like
yep,
that.
something like that. There's a whole lot of things you can do with fog to just build kind of the right atmosphere. And we
Yeah.
haven't been able to do that yet, but it's on my wish list, on my to-do list. And we can also talk about like fog underwater, right? Because oh my gosh, yeah, underwater's killing me. There's so much stuff I want to do with water, but
Yeah.
one of these days.
One of the other comments in chat from Turbo Archon is that I'm hoping to see Sizzlies on the desert planet. Like if someone drops some water for some reason, having it sizzle on the hot sand would be cool.
Oh,
I
you and me
assume that's
both. So,
yeah,
so with our system, as has been talked about, we know the temperature and humidity and everything on
right.
a planet. Um, from my perspective, that's awesome. What's not awesome is I can't access that yet at runtime from my tools. And as soon
Yeah.
as we can do that, holy moly, there's yeah.
Oh, and he's
That's
also
going to be
saying
awesome.
that and the jiggly air effect from heat, like you see on
Yes.
horizon lines, like the heat waves in the air,
Yeah,
the
I can't
mirage
think of what.
effect.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The little distortion.
Heat
Yeah, that
distortion,
stuff.
I think is what you call it. Yeah.
Yep. And can you imagine, like, the wind's picking up and you're on a desert planet, so you get little dust
Yeah.
devils or
Yeah.
whatever twirly things
Yeah.
going around.
Yeah.
And then of course, because you're in a desert, you gotta have that tumbleweed.
Yep.
If we're doing Western, I guess. But yeah, there's basically I'm waiting for influence maps to be accessible from the client. And
Yeah.
it's we're slowly inching towards there.
But
So one of these
will
days.
giving you that access, will that also um uh open security holes in the game though?
No, because
No.
not as
Okay.
far as I know, because it's just data that's already available. I'm not doing
Okay.
anything with it. Like I'm not handing it out to the player. I'm just using it to drive graphical effects.
Okay.
Um, like here's another common one that you could do with influence maps, right? Or if I had
Okay.
access to this is just breath when you're out in the cold, right? You're out high
Oh
on that
yeah.
little cold mountaintop. Where's
Oh
your
yeah.
breath?
Yeah.
Um, and because
That
I
would
don't have
make it
access to
feel so much colder. Yeah.
yep, yep. And then and yeah, there's this whole bunch of stuff. You can also use it. So our influence maps as the way they're designed is not just about like the temperature and humidity and whatever else and the minerals and whatever on a planet. If I remember right, because I asked for this a while back and I'm hoping it's still in a document somewhere, you'll be able to get the amount of foliage or trees and or features in any given area. So you can start doing stuff like you're in a really humid, swampy area. So maybe there's a bunch of mosquitoes in the air, right?
Yeah.
They don't affect gameplay, but visually that would be awesome. Um, or you are in the middle of the um a hot, wet jungle and there are a bunch of trees here, right? Well, that's where you would get a bunch of fog. Not all over the planet, but where you have a bunch of trees and it's hot and
Oh.
humid. Um, so
You hear that,
anyways,
Gunk? With all your tree planting?
yep,
Yeah.
build that rainforest.
Yeah.
That's good luck. That's good luck. That's good luck.
Aw. What is she saying? That's for luck? Best of luck? What is she
No,
saying?
he's saying on
He-
Scar, look,
On Scarlet.
asking
Okay.
them to look at the game I'm playing. No, my game's better. Look at what I'm doing.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, at least they have two of them. And,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any questions in the chat, folks? This is a good time to ask. It's a lot of fun getting another perspective. At our company, a lot of the artists are on the quieter side. They're not the first ones to speak in a meeting. They're not the party animals types. So it's fun to get a chance to talk to our artist. Dow asks if your character starts to shiver or sweat or tummy grumbles. Sounds like fun collaboration with Kurt for these sound things and good accessibility too, like for people who are deficient in one sense or another, visuals or whatever, they can fill in with auditory or other contextual cues. That's nice.
Yeah, that's always on our mind. Accessibility, and frankly, we haven't had the bandwidth to address that head on, but it always comes up and we're aware of it. Like for instance, with the recent rollout of the survey points being invisible and having to rely on audio cues to get close to them, that's a real detriment to someone who's hard of hearing or who might not want to play with the sound on for whatever reason. So we're aware of these. Some we're not aware of all the issues, but we're aware of some of the issues, and it's definitely on our bucket list. And Kurt and I have to collaborate sometimes,
Yep.
frequently.
Yep.
VFX and SFX were kind of like that other department that people don't think about too much. Right? Because it's
Yeah.
like sound and music. It's right.
Yeah.
It's like watch a movie with that sound and music. It makes no
Yeah.
sense, but you
Yeah.
kind of don't notice it when it's there. You notice it when it's not there. I feel the same way about VFX. So,
Yeah.
kindred spirits with Kurt on that one, but he's much cooler than I am. So, a little bit jealous.
No, he can get your attention and make you remember that sound and music is important. Yeah, on
Well,
occasion.
he's not shy in meetings like
No.
like us other artists.
Yeah. 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 uh, yeah. They've had Kurt on as a guest before, and they know who he is, and it's part he's willing to put himself out there and go talk to people, and it was easy to get him to come on the show. Yeah, very easy.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So
And, and DAO can
we all
understand what you're meaning by making the hint map data available, to what you're working with would make a huge difference. He sees the vision for that. Hillbait says if it's something important that you want to hint about, like heat or cold, or food, using a screen frame color change could help for accessibility if we're running out of senses to trigger.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot we can do on the UI side. Just having an icon over your character. I think well that's kind of tricky, right? Because on the one hand, um, you don't want your screen to be covered with icons. On the other hand,
Right,
they're so useful for just it's a
right.
convenient place to show yet another piece of information. You should have Yvette on here and talk about UI.
That's
Um,
true. Yeah,
yep.
yeah. We should
Um,
get Yvette on.
but yeah, it's I think generally speaking, we want to present you with the game and not with the interface. Um, that cluttered interface,
Right,
but you still have to have all the information available. So that's not my job. Someone else has to
right.
figure that out.
Here's a little bit of a contest for the folks in Twitch chat. I'll have to think of a little prize for whoever wins this. Name one of the two games that is our most direct uh, inspiration for how we want to do the user interface in Stars Reach. There's two games that really, really affect it. That really affected our vision. Oh, yep. Lanza got it. It was Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Same game, really. Maybe it's unfair to say two, but yeah, TJ Lanza got it. TJ, when you get a second on Discord, I want you to reach out and friend me on Discord. I just go by Carneros, and then I'll get you your prize. Thank you very much. He got
See,
it
I didn't
first, although Dow
even.
knew it too. You didn't know that?
Nope, did not know it. Like I said, UI is not my thing. Talk to Yvette.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do my little corner of the universe.
Rod's asking, can I win? So apparently Rod is listening to us and we have to say nice things now. Or
Oh,
tease
sorry,
him.
Rod.
Now we can tease
I didn't
him
really mean
if
it.
he's listening. Ultimate and he means UO and Star Wars Galaxies. Those are big inspirations for the game design, the gameplay, but for the user interface, the user experience of the game, we are inspired by Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. These are basically sandboxes with a very, very pared down, spare, minimalist user interface that provides as little between you and your game world as possible. And that's challenging, and we feel it every day, but it's also beautiful.
Yep.
It's minimalist beauty. All right. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Ramitzi got that part. Yeah.
Dead Space is
Yeah.
also a good one, but completely different genre.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's different. Oh, I think I got a friend request. Ha. Nice. All right. That's you. Okay, gotcha. Here goes. We're gonna pick something out here. Shh, don't say anything. We're gonna keep going at the same time though. Okay, next question. What is something that you wish players knew about your job? Either that
It's
you wish they
awesome.
knew about.
I
They do know
mean,
that.
look. Um, Well, there's a lot of different angles you can come to it, but it's really if you're the kind of person that likes art and you like technical things, like VFX and technical art is friggin' awesome. Yeah, I don't know what else you would want to know about it. It's very satisfying when you get something to work and look the way you want.
Yeah.
And you don't go and sell a game on VFX or SFX, but you make a huge contribution, and the people who work inside the company know that, even if the general audience or population doesn't. So yeah, I think it's an awesome vocation for someone like me.
All right. Okay. Of all the things that you sometimes get asked to do in your job, what is the most difficult thing? Like if in tomorrow's stand up they said, Johnny, we need you to drop what you're doing and do X. What's the most difficult thing they could ask you to do?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I imagine we have some pranksters on the team, so they could just come up with something completely out of left field just to make my life horrible for 5 seconds.
Oh, geez.
Um,
Maybe we shouldn't say this
but
out loud then.
um, the hardest thing is probably when you don't have enough direction. So I
Oh,
talked earlier about having that
yeah,
leeway to
yeah,
kind of interpret things on your own. At the
yeah,
same time, if there's no direction, then you have zero idea of how to fulfill any request. So, so rather than, being asked to do something specific that frightens me, it's being asked to do anything without knowing just how it fits
yeah,
into the game visually, gameplay. Yeah. So you always need a little bit of direction to point you in that right direction. Um, you know, Closer to home right now, and this goes back to dust. The hardest thing that I would try to tackle right now, if I had time, is making dust and smoke look better.
yeah,
Because we can make it look better. It just takes a lot of time. But once we get over the hump of getting the system to make it look better, then more dust, more smoke, more steam, it becomes easier. But that initial chunk of time to really noodle down and get it to look good and not be crazy frame rate killing, that is kind of a hard ask right now. um Not necessarily because of technical challenges, just time challenges, but I would love to nail that down and just be happy with the foot dust now and forever.
Now, once Stars Reach is live, once we have launched, 1.0, what activities in game are you looking forward to trying out for yourself?
So this is not in the game or probably on the roadmap that I've seen, but it was on Discord the other day and it was fishing. But I want to do
Well,
ice
it's
fishing. So
absolutely fishing is absolutely on the plan. We're absolutely
ice
going to have
fishing,
that. Yeah.
ice fishing. I want to do ice fishing. Make that a thing.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I think I would choose to do something off in the little corner of the world where no one has destroyed it.
You are
Um,
getting support from chat, by the way, on the ice fishing idea. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So I would probably just spend hours doing that.
Me
You know,
too, actually. And then I'm gonna wanna cook the fish. But, that's but yeah, you got people saying I was thinking about that earlier because I was talking about portable boats to float around on, lol. And Killbait says, "If you have fishing in seasons, well, ice fishing is required. Build a
yes.
shanty on the ice and sit around with your small group of friends hoping to catch something? Rod. Rod. Yeah. And then, Knock agrees that ice fishing would be bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine like pulling that fish up out of the ice and it's like doing this? I mean, poor fish, but visually, that's
Yeah.
going to be so awesome. At least that's what I would want to do. I don't know if we can do it.
Yeah. It will be awesome. We'll do it. We'll do it. We have a magical team. We'll somehow do it.
Yeah.
Poor fish. Yeah. Happy tummy. Yes. Weaponize the fish. Dude. Although, Turbo Archon, if you cook the fish well and supply it to the troops, you are kind of weaponizing it. Just saying. Set up a bunch of tip-ups around the area. Rod is visualizing. Because he's a producer, he's visualizing how this would work and what parts would need to be done to make ice fishing happen. If you cook the fish poorly and sell it on the cheap to the enemy army, you might be able to get them all sick. Knock. That was devious. Devious, I tell you. Hey guys, would you like some shady fish? Gas station sushi? Yeah, no, let's not do that. Okay. Well, we're coming up on our 1 hour show here. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share your thoughts on Stars Reach or Playable Worlds or the MMO industry or the games industry or our community that we're forming in our Discord?
Maybe my enthusiasm for the project. It's a hard project because we are doing something new, but it's
Yeah,
freaking awesome that we're doing something new.
yeah.
And we're doing it. So yeah, I think like as excited as some of our player base has been about the project, I am too. Um,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's awesome. You don't get to say that about a lot of games that you work on, right? That you're actually doing something new. So yeah, go Stars Reach.
I've had that in my career many times where they said, "Okay, we want you guys to go and make once it was Command and Conquer, but make a new version and make a difference in some way." And we're
Yeah.
like, "Okay." So we go out and we try to make this game and make it different in some way, but it's got all the same features as something else. In that particular case, we came up with an idea.
Daddy, I unlocked
The difference was art based. Instead of serious looking guys with high resolution, we had it plastic men. But that's what we came up with as our tweak on Command and Conquer.
Yeah, that's cool. I wish I kept all my video game boxes.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, between moves and downsizing and all that, I've
yeah,
lost most of them.
yeah. I still have half of them here, that to touch. And of course, now today we don't really ship things in boxes very often. Most games come all the way to market. Even most games that make it to market, if they do, don't have a box. So that's kind of a, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yep. Unless, you sell the super deluxe version so you can
Yeah.
get the box and the
And I'm
map or
still trying
something.
to talk management into letting me do a fancy collector's edition in a box for Stars Reach. So far they're not excited about that idea. But
I would
we'll
pay my
figure it
own
out.
money for that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. Yeah. You guys are funny. Not much different than convenience store sushi that I got in Japan all the time. Actually, convenience store sushi in Japan is good. I spent
Yep.
about 3 years living in Japan, and that's not, you know, and later I had to go back for work on occasion, working for a Japanese game company. So, yeah, I've had some good stuff out of convenience stores in Japan. Same
Yep.
back in military days. Yeah.
Yeah, Japanese 7-Elevens are awesome.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Americans don't realize that 7-Eleven originated in Japan. And that's where they started. And
I didn't
yeah,
know that. That's neat.
yeah, yeah, it is neat. And the quality is superb back there. Absolutely superb.
When can we go to Colby Park?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I also feel like this is a really special company, and I'm blessed and spoiled to get to work here, especially at this phase
Yep.
in my career where I can appreciate how good it is, because I've seen regular game companies, and yeah, this is wonderful.
Really fun.
Love it.
Yep. Same.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thomas, do you want to see if there's a good streamer we could raid on our way out?
No one from Stars Reach, but maybe
No one's
someone
doing Stars Reach
from...
at the moment?
No, not yet. But maybe someone from EVE Online?
No, don't do
No?
that. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not do that one. Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, well, thank you all. Johnny and I and Thomas and need to all go back to work. So we're gonna have to say thank you and let us get to our projects here, because we got more stuff to make for you.
Okay.
The
Thanks all.
next one of these is Monday. We're gonna do an interview on Monday morning with Megan Bledsoe. Megan is an amazing world builder. She makes Gaia Mar and all these other planets that you're enjoying. Looking forward to hearing from her. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
You.